Though it's not clear how much business Cuba was doing in its own right, by the mid-'80s, the U.S. Coast Guard was detecting a dramatic increase in drug activity off the Cuban coast.
We would observe in the middle of the day an airdrop going on inside Cuban waters. We were observing from outside in international waters. The scenario would be for a small twin-engine airplane with maybe 1,000 to 2,000 pounds of cocaine fly over Cuba, drop the drugs to a pre-designated rendezvous point to several boats, usually what we call fast boats, high-powered boats that are capable of 40 to 60 knots sometimes. And then it would exit back down off Cuba. And many times it would be under the eyes, or at least a Cuban military vessel would be in the immediate vicinity, right on scene with them.
It became so blatant that drugs were dropped in broad daylight within sight of the Las Americas restaurant, one of Cuba's top tourist attractions. The volume was so high that in a 12-month period, U.S. law enforcement collected intelligence on 54 incidents. From these, a pattern begins to emerge. Cuba's Coast Guard directed most yachts and fast boats to these 6 harbors. The Navy allowed the larger drug ships to dock in 6 bigger ports. The Air Force had responsibility for light planes, which landed at Varadero. Air Force General Rafael Del Pino is the most senior officer to defect from Cuba.
The permission to overfly Cuba have to come from the Ministry of Defense.
The Minister of Defense is Raul Castro, Fidel's brother.
Several times I received order from Raul Castro's office and also from General Abrantes' office to let the airplane cross over Cuba.
Now, what kind of orders did you get?
Well, just tomorrow at 14 Zulu is going to fly an airplane like this, 2 engines, and just let it fly.
The planes often flew through some of the most restricted airspace in the country.
In the western part of Cuba, we have 19 SAM missile sites, and we have 100 radars, and we have a regiment of MiG-23 interceptor, and it is completely impossible that a smaller plane fly from Colombia to the United States without the knowledge and the permission of the Cuban authority.
According to Del Pino, the military top brass assumed drugs were part of state policy. Officers even argued about the rights and wrongs of it.
Everybody knew there that they were getting in this business. Some of them were against and some were pro. Some say that was a dirty game, and some of them say, well, in this kind of war against the imperialists, we can use all tricks, and the maximum leader knows the weak part of the United States, and this is a way to make them weaker. In Cuba, more than the other totalitarian country, nothing moved without the knowledge of Fidel Castro.
Nobody can do that or think over, because it's a big problem with Fidel, if Fidel don't agree. Do you understand the point? Nobody take the risk.
Okay. Because it's impossible to organize an operation of that size in Cuba without the approval of Fidel Castro.